Shohagad Fuarin na Fainc, the community well between the villages of Back and Gress on the Western Isles. My mum has a clear recollection of coming here as a child, once a day through the week and twice a day on Saturdays. It was the family's only source of fresh water until 1958, when the main supply reached the district and outside taps were fitted to the houses of Back. Electricity too was introduced here within living memory. What's my point? Well, I think it highlights the difficult realities of life here in the past. People here had no choice but to live off the land. They were subsistence farmers, crofters. But it's only recently that this practice has evolved from being an absolute necessity into being a choice. Crofting primarily involves the caretaking of flocks of sheep and cattle, cutting of peat for fuel, and growing crops on arable land. It's an historic practice that many islanders grew up surrounded by and embedded within. My question is, why do people continue to croft? Especially when, as we'll discover, there's basically no economic incentive. I wanted to find out.
Today we're just heading over to an island called Quay. We're going to unload some feed on the island, and myself and Rachel will be having a wee look around. Rachel's dad is the manager of the island, so this is a busy time of year for him because it's lambing time, so he'll be out there for up to 6 weeks. I don't think they get weather as good as this every time though.
I've got it on paper that I can take a boat out, but now what I need is experience. It's a very fertile island. There's 600 to 700 sheep on it, and like you couldn't have them at home on Harris because there's just not the land. So this is what kind of keeps the island going, the sheep, because if you were to get rid of the sheep and all the crofting, it would just become overgrown and you would just lose it all. When you go out there, you'll see it's so green. It's such a special place.
How was the crossing, Rachel?
Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't choppy at all. It was nice and calm. We're just unloading the boat, just taking the feeding off. It all has to go up to the shed, but we'll have to take it up with a quad and trailer when it comes back. So just getting it all clear off the boat just now. So.
Rachel's a bit younger than me, but we only live four doors away.
Myszy robi ci na onwami na mwepi. Papa robi pasz na mwe, fat mwe.
I've been out here now 2 or 3 times to help.
Are you a good team?
Yeah, we just have a carry on. There's never any sort of like arguments. We're probably the only ones in a fact that wouldn't fall out. We just bounce off each other, and if something goes wrong, we just laugh about it or make a joke.
There is people that are majorly against crofting and that probably would be quite happy, but I think it would be really sad to see it going because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like a way of life.
We feel like home here, and if we were to ever lose that, it would be absolutely awful.
Yes!
Spotted.
This is the first lambs I've seen all year.
Same, actually. Oh, sunbathing.
How cute.
I know. We see a croft as like a lifestyle where others see it as like an opportunity to build, you know, a house on. Then younger people like us lose out on any of these opportunities and ever being able to buy land because things are so expensive.
So what needs to be done?
I think more opportunities for like local young people to get in first on these like crofts rather than whoever's got the most money, who lives 100 miles away and just wants to build a big house, when there's locals who want to make a living.
Yeah. And try and keep these traditions alive.
Yeah, definitely.
This week, in fact, there's an event being held in Stornoway, and they're trying to set up like a young crofters group. So I think that's going to be really helpful, because that's going to like provide support and maybe courses and stuff like that. We'll call us a jet.
Can you listen? Well, we'll have a look, see if there is. I don't think so, but then we can walk through. Hello, how are you getting on? Henry, look at that. We've shifted these bags.
Eh?
We've shifted all these.
Probably half of them.
Hello.
Oh my goodness.
It must have just been today.
Is this the ones that Catherine took in?
I don't know. Hello.
I don't want to go back. I'm working tonight.
See you next time.
You feel sad leaving Pabby?
Yeah, it's always a sad feeling. Pabby blues is what I call it.
Yeah, I am quite hopeful about the future, because this new Young Crofters group, once it gets up and running, is going to be a really good thing.
I will be crofting for the rest of my life. I wouldn't ask for anything else.
Very happy.
Yeah.
Very happy.
I'm very happy.
On a day like today, who could it be?
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With good company.
Yeah. As always, Rachel.
I'll get the top 3, you get the bottom 2.
Oh, for flip's sake.
That's Sapphire, that's Dovey.
No, it's not a dove.
Yes, it is. Mum calls her Dovey.
Usually Lena gets to blame more things than I do.
Oh, I could,
Usually it's her that does
I
the
could
wrong.
do nothing, and she could be winding me up, and it's me that gets screamed at.
So, to make it easier on ourselves, we're penning just 4 at a time, and we're going to be giving them a dose of mineral drench to help them, because they're in lamb and they're all got twins. That's them done.
There's very few young people coming in. There's no incentive for them to get into crofting. A lot of things are changing now in a year's time. The incentive in the past, you had a chance of getting a croft. To get a tenancy nowadays, you've got to pay big money. And I'm not talking about thousands, but into 6 figures in some places. They don't want the croft, they want the view. The young person hasn't much chance when you're competing with money.
What do we do to rectify that situation?
Good question.
We need a knife.
Just take some off of the triplets.
Action.
Most villages have got various between 20, 40 crofts. There's only about maybe 6 active crofters in it.
How many do you reckon there used to be?
The whole village was active. The only thing is, the active crofters, if they get a chance to use the vacant crofts, that's the only way you can survive, is have a few crofts.
And what if that doesn't happen?
That doesn't happen. To work at 1 or 2 crofts, not going to work. I've got 2 or 3 jobs. That's the only way it works for me.
I think because it's not so many young crofters now, that the older generations who sort of rely on younger people to help them, if there's not as many there, they're struggling to keep up their numbers and what they can do. And it's quite sad to see that people are struggling. I don't think you can really go into crofting as a career because it's just not a reliable way to make money. Hopefully in the future I'd be able to do some of the things that I do now, but just have to wait and see, I suppose.
I don't know how people would function without it. It'd be so weird driving past a field and it not being filled with sheep, especially on Harris.
Yeah, it'd be quite sad to see things that people have been doing for generations, sort of like ourselves, and for that just to stop, it's quite sad.
I think we'll go into town in the afternoon. I know. But people from Byre don't age like the rest. I don't think. When people ask how old my mum is and then I tell them, they're shocked.
Yeah.
It's because it's always sunny here. We're just a couple of weeks out from lambing, so we're giving all my sheep a dose of Heptavac. Last year, I had lambs. They were all reaching about 4 weeks, and I was going out in the morning and they had dropped dead. So it was quite deflating, especially when you've put in so much work. But it was all due to Clostridial disease. And last year, before lambing, I didn't have access to Heptavac. It's really difficult to get your hands on it. So I'm prepared this year, so hopefully there'll be a different outcome.
Why are you here today, Ali?
Basically to give Peggy Ann a hand, and I live quite close in the same village as well, so it's kind of good to help each other out. They're getting a 2 ml dose of this. This is an automatic gun, makes things so much easier. So it's just basically a push-on system. And it draws into the chamber, and that's your dose ready to go.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So basically what we'll do is we'll take them round this way. I vaccinate in the neck, so it's a slight kind of parting of the wool. In, pull, done.
Done.
There I go. Okay, you want to do it yourself?
Yeah. Come on, I don't want to hurt you. You've died.
That's it, just push
There?
in there, yep.
And then...
Pull the trigger, and then slowly let it back out. There you go.
Oh, did it go in?
That's it.
See, if it wasn't for this handy wee tool of Ali's, this would take me probably about 10 hours. I would be absolutely snookered without Ali. My own croft, a couple of minutes down the road, my family's been on that croft for generations as well, and they worked the land and they had sheep, so they had to do it obviously to survive. I can do it as a hobby. I wouldn't say I make a lot of money, or really any money at all, you know, profit. I just make enough to keep myself ticking over. Would I work outside all the time and not at a computer? Yes, without a second thought, but you know, you've got to have a lot of infrastructure. I would definitely identify first as a Gael. I'm a native Gaelic speaker. I do it with my own daughter. I mean, she's not even 2 and she's out here all the time, so hopefully she'll grow up liking the sheep as well. I'm very proud to teach my daughter about that life as well and bring her up that way. Yeah, everything's just a little uncertain just now. Obviously at the moment we receive subsidies and you can get grants for fencing and croft improvements, but things are pretty uncertain now that we've come out of the EU. I know they're talking about new schemes, but yeah, it's worrying times.
Yeah, the majority of the time it's me and Bethany. Obviously Dad is also there. He just gives us a bunch of tasks and we just plod away.
Hopefully we are going to put spot onto the lambs and let them out of the shed for the first time.
Best time of year for me, personally.
Is that right? Why do you think that?
It's fun, lambing.
What you'll need to do is put all the lambs into here first, alright? One of you will have to stand there and the other one lift them in here, okay? So there's 2 lambs in there, so if you hold the lambs from Bethany and then Noel, the product works from the shoulders and spreads its way out through the skin. We've got a problem here, and it's probably worse than it ever was, with ticks. It wasn't something we used to have to do with these lambs so young, but now we're finding that if we don't treat the lambs as young as this, when they go out onto the grass, they do get ticks, and it can give them blood disorders. I'm very fortunate in the fact that they're here, because you get so many more jobs done. Even though they're quite young, they've been doing it since they were so young. They know what they're doing. This is job number 1 to complete. All we need to do now is literally open the door and let them go.
They haven't seen the outside yet, have they?
The lambs haven't, no. The ewes have been outside, but the lambs have not been outside, so. But they're ready to go. It's a nice enough day, and we'll keep them close at hand. If the weather was to turn, we could easily take them back in. There are people who want to live here. There are people who want to bring up families here. And there are people who want to carry on the crofting way of life. What is clear to me, and has been clear to me for probably the last 5-6 years, there are more and more young people wanting to come into our industry. And that has to be recognised. And these people need support. We're looking to set up a young farmers, young crofters group. We've got a speaker coming up, a boy, Cameron Wilson, who does a lot of YouTube stuff. So it's looking like, and I'm hopeful that, it's actually going to be a good turnout. There's a bit of a buzz about it.
How are you feeling about it?
Nervous but excited. I can't wait. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I think I've lost count of the amount of people who have been saying to me over the last few years about the number of young people they've been seeing coming along to sales, shows. So when Ali came along to our Lewis and Harris Sheep Producers Association meeting a few months ago and said that he was keen to try and get something off the ground for young people, the Lewis and Harris Sheep Producers Committee was really keen to support that. On the end of the table here, we've got Cammy Wilson from Ayrshire, who's come to join us as well, who I'm sure a few of you are familiar with.
I've been making a lot of videos, I've been coming today, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to selfie, I'm going to spin round, and see as I spin round, I just want everybody to give a little wave towards the camera, maybe a little whoop as well. Oh, come on, wave to the camera, come on. There you are. Woo-hoo! The Shetland guys will see this. Come on. Tremendous. Fantastic, the amount of you that have turned out here tonight and the amount of young people that's here is absolutely incredible. But this young farmers thing is a special thing, like it's a special opportunity, the doors that it opens for you within the farming community.
Thank you very much for that, Cammy. It's a really good, entertaining chat there. And finally, just a big thank you to Ali for all the effort that he's put into organising this as well.
I'm quite positive about the future of crofting because I believe we've got a youth set up that if we can encourage them enough, we can grow this and keep this legacy going.
Crofting is what we've always known. I want it to be a big part of my life.
You asked me before why I've carried on with my family's flock and why I keep coming out in the wind and the rain and the snow sometimes, and the reason that I do it is because I love it.